We'll give it the beans here. A proper English breakfast. Hey, Dylan from Throttle Company here. We got a special edition of In Loop. Well, they're all special, but today it's a brand new brand, which I guess we've done vintage of before, but here in Throttle Company in Columbus, Ohio, we sell, well, motorcycles, Moto Guzzis, Royal Enfield, vintage, and now BSA. Dun, 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 dun. I don't have a BSA song. There is a cool BSA song, but I don't have the rights to it. All right, well, here it is, the Gold Star 650, and the story with these is they've been pushed back. Everything's been delayed this year. Things are crazy with shipping and importing and such. And 160 or so bikes are stuck in port in Miami, so they air shipped via air, a handful. I think there's 4, and I've seen 3 of them in person because they were at Vintage Days, which was 2 weeks ago here in Mid-Ohio. And this one belongs to us. There's only a couple of, maybe 2 dealers, 3 dealers in the country that have these. There's only, this is the second one in the country. They gave one away, the Ohio Valley BSA Club. They have a rally every year. I went this year on Sunday. It was amazing. It's a 3-day event, but I only got the last day. I wish I'd gone to more of it because, man, I was not expecting it to be as great as it was. It was awesome. And they gave one away. They had this there the whole weekend. So there's some lucky owner, a guy from West Virginia, won it as a raffle prize. He bought $1,000 worth of tickets and won a legacy edition, which I think is the coolest looking one. This one's great. I mean, the red is a very classic BSA color. It's like the BSA color. But the legacy doesn't have the painted fenders. This has red painted fenders. All the other colors have painted fenders. It has like the polished metal fenders. So just a slightly more like classic look to it. We've had this bike since Sunday evening, and it's Tuesday. I only laugh because I know how many days it's been. It's 2 days. Nicole's somewhere over there. She just put 250 miles on this thing today. So we're really enjoying it. She's doing videos. She went on a group ride. We had a bike night last night with it. So anyway, we'll get that all the way. Take it in. I'm sure you've seen photos of it online. It's taken a while to get here to the U.S. shores. BSA back in the day, 25%, 1 in 4 was their motto of all the global sales. So 1 in 4 motorcycles sold in the world was a BSA. So there was a huge brand, essentially went away in 1973. And we have a bunch of them. We're obviously selling vintage bikes here. We love them. And they've kind of always been in that British ecosystem. So just like Triumph, at some point they were the same company as Triumph. Norton, what else we got out of there? Royal Enfield, of course. And then earlier, you kind of have the Matchless and the other Vela sets and stuff like that. But they've always just been firmly very British. It stands for Birmingham Small Arms, so Birmingham in England. And they made guns during the war, World War II, maybe earlier than that. But they've been making motorcycles since 1903 until 1973, and then they're back now. So we're going to get those as soon as they release the rest from customs. But you could do pre-sales. I used to not do this, but if you want to be first in line, I want you to as well. So we can do pre-sales. You can take deposits and make sure you're one of the very first to have it in the country. Okay, so 650cc single. The original Gold Star was a single. This is as well. It's water-cooled. You can tell from the radiator. So it is a water-cooled dual overhead cam, single cylinder. Actually, it has 2 spark plugs. I don't know if you can see the second one back in there. It's kind of hot, but there is another one back in there. Let's just get on it. This is about what it's like to ride. It's got Pirellis, it's got Brembos, it's got all the name brand stuff. They really haven't skimped out on quality to get the price point. The price point in the U.S. is going to be $75 and $79. So that Legacy Edition is $7,900 and whatever they say, $95, and then basically $7,500 for these other models. There's an all blacked out version, which I have not seen in person, which I'm very excited to see. All right, fit and finish, very, very nice, starting with the gauges. So watch the little trick that they do, the reverse sweep, and then what used to be an ammeter, which was sort of how to check your voltage, is now all your little indicators hidden. When you start to move, those kind of all disappear. So let's get going. I don't know if you can hear it on the video, but it's a single. It has a nice kind of throaty sound to it. I missed first there. It was very, very quiet at first, but it's actually opened up a little, and I think it's a little louder than it was. My turn. All right, so in the loop is where we go around our test ride course here at Throttle Company in Columbus, Ohio, and I tell you what it's like to ride. So first thing, let's just get this out of the way. They're going to be probably, from me at least, and I think others, a lot of comparisons to the Interceptor. You know, we've been a Royal Enfield dealer. We're one of the top Royal Enfield dealers in the country, and we've sold them for 5 years. We've only been in business for 5 years, but we've sold them the whole time we essentially opened with them. I'm a huge Royal Enfield fan, and I'm going to compare this to the Interceptor a lot. I think it's the most it's their modern classic. It's also a 650, though it is a twin. So that is, the character of the engine is completely different. So I haven't had them next to each other sort of to visually compare, but physically sitting on this one, it feels much smaller than an Interceptor. I used to own an Interceptor, I think I said that, but so I'm pretty familiar with what they feel like, and this feels quite a bit lighter, narrower, nimbler. Is that a word? More agile. And that's nice. It's a welcomed thing to have it feel lighter. That is how older bikes felt. If you ride a bike from the 60s or the 50s, which is sort of what this is modeled after, they feel light. That's the first thing you notice is this is not, I mean, it's a far ways off from a bicycle, but compared to a modern bike, a big bike, lighter and just smaller overall, which is good. It makes it feel more fun and more nimble. All the controls, there's no tricks to how things work. Both the turn signals are on the left, just like every non-Harley motorcycle essentially. You do have hazard lights over here. This is the kill switch. So everything's kind of where you expect it to be, especially on a modern bike. And I think that they really nailed the look. When they first showed up with this a year ago, the guys from BSA brought one to the shop, and it's not that uncommon that someone would bring us a vintage bike in the back of a truck, which is how they had it, to say, hey, would you work on this, or would you be interested in buying this bike, or whatever. And so I just thought, oh, this is a cool old BSA from 20 feet away. And then when I got a little closer, the exhaust, I think, gives it away. The exhaust is larger, and they never really would have done kind of that brushed stainless back in the day. But, you know, everything's sort of chrome. But, man, the proportions and the sort of presence, like the overall just silhouette and everything, it really does a good job convincing you that this is an old motorcycle. So it would be fun. I say that with all the Royal Enfields. When someone buys a classic, let's say, and they're the most classic looking, I say, don't be at all surprised if someone's a little offended when they ask what year this bike is at the gas station, and you say 2025, and they think you're teasing them or making fun of them. You still don't get any respect on this bike, as people want to go up, pull out in front of you. This is the first time I'm ever doing any real turns. So it's a 5-speed gearbox, just like it would have been back in the day. I love the reverse sweep gauges. That is so cool. What a cool part. Let me make sure my camera's facing the right direction for that, because I really got to get that. I think they did an amazing job with the gauges, sort of balancing the modern stuff. You see I have a fuel gauge over there that is digital. My odometer is digital. My warning lights aren't doing anything. I guess I can make a turn signal when it happens, but it otherwise just goes away and disappears and looks like a vintage ammeter. There are things that I don't think they nailed, and who knows if it's a cost thing or what, but the switch cubes, as they call them, but like here, I think that looks very modern. I think these look very modern. And then this hovering USB thing. It's cool to have USB, of course, But man, they really could have done a better job of integrating that. It just looks so out of place to me. But that's about it. You know, I didn't focus on it. I probably should have. Maybe I'll cut together B-roll. The headlight, the touches of the headlight saying BSA. This BSA logo established 1903 on the gas cap. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. It's funny, I'm talking. I was in first there. I'm not doing the best job riding. We'll give it the beans here. A proper English breakfast. That's fifth. We'll come back down so I can talk, but it feels comfortable at speed. You know, I got almost to 80 miles an hour. I actually just followed Nicole back from about an hour east of here, and she took the highway, and there was no problem. She said it felt light, which I could see. I mean, in general, it is lighter than, like, I don't know, 650, some of the 650 twins that are out there, or like a Bonneville, or even a V7, which we sell, is sort of in that same modern classic category. So it's a compromise, you know. Everything with motorcycling, there's so many different types of bikes, and they're all, as to borrow a Britishism, horses for courses. So depending on where you want to take it, we've got a different horse. So this one specifically, back roads, turns, city riding, where a lighter bike, a single especially, is going to really be fun. I can't wait to get out and do some twisties with this thing, which I'll probably do next weekend. Maybe I'll do a video on that. But we got a lot of grunt, you know, singles especially. This is a big single, you know. Some of the biggest singles out there right now are like 690s, and this is 650. So we're right there in the big single world with the dual plug head and everything. You know, they do that because when the combustion chamber gets large enough, the single cylinder, the spark, the fire can't get, it's not as efficient. It can't reach all the whole cylinder by the time it needs the next spark. So it's got two for that reason. You know, some really big engines have that. Harleys have that. Some of the larger displacement Moto Guzzis have that. You know, if you're dividing your total displacement by a few cylinders or one, and it's a large cylinder, they will tend to do that, which I think is cool. I don't know how gas mileage is yet. You know, you're not really getting your true gas mileage. I don't know if people realize this, but when you're breaking an engine in, it's super inefficient, fuel efficient. So your first couple tanks on any new bike, like brand new, are going to be pretty bad as far as gas mileage. So I'm guessing we're in the 50s, 50 miles per gallon. But I don't think we're doing that currently. But I think that's about what you could expect, depending on how you ride, of course. Riding in a fun, spirited way is great because that gearbox, which by the way I think is really good, it feels, my initial impression of it is it feels tight, it feels good. It does a thing that like is not bad, it's just a personal preference, but when you get all the way down to first, there's not a different feeling in the gear shifter, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't like have a notch that it goes past. So it's like, am I definitely in first? So it just feels like, it takes some getting used to on that one. But I think overall it performs really well. It doesn't take a ton of effort. It seems precise. So I really like that, but the gearing is really good, really fun at slow speed. Wow. And I feel like the time just flew by. I got a drone, so I'm going to try to do some drone shots after this. Maybe I'll just park it over there like I'm going to do it. And hopefully I will have interspliced that throughout the video to illustrate all my points, so many points. And this BSA is back, baby. We, who knows when we get them. If you really want to put a deposit in, you know, there's actually a website, and you can find dealers on there. So I know that a lot of dealers are listed. We've been listed for months, and they're not going to know anything more than I do. I just talked to the guys a few days ago from BSA, and we talk to them regularly. So they're working hard to bring all this stuff in. We are going to have this bike for demos, for test rides. So if you're in or near Columbus, or you're just a BSA fan and you were willing to travel here, come check it out. We're big on test rides. We have test rides on all the bikes. So I want people to ride this and to see what they think, especially if you're a previous BSA enthusiast. I think you're going to like it a lot. It does have the core spirit. It does feel like a bike that they just kept making. This is if BSA kept making bikes, this is what they would have kept making. So I really like it. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. You're going to see a lot more BSA content as we ride this bike more. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching In the Loop.